Now, imagine waking up to this. I guess no one wants to imagine that, standing in front of a scary, brainless, spell-casting monster. Well, right now you're thinking, what are you talking about? Are you trying to make up some fiction movie? I wish I would. I was just scrolling, as usual, on social media, and I stumbled across this story that you will not believe. So let's take a quick look. And before we do, hello and welcome to the Talk Podcast.
A grisly scene. Police say they caught this woman cooking human body parts after she'd been casting spells. I have the details on the shocking case out of Kentucky and where the case stands. This case sounds like something out of a horror movie. I actually had to look at the headline 2 or 3 times to make sure that I was reading it correctly.
I told you, you guys are going to be very shocked about this. And I was so surprised. I did not want to believe that this is actually true. So I went on the internet and I started digging a bit. And unfortunately, yes, it is true. This really happened. And I guess it's not even that long ago. It's just like a few months ago. And for the family members, I am so sorry. This must be so horrifying. And just like, how do you deal with this? How do you move on with this, right? And at the other hand, or on the other hand, how do you say that? I hope you guys understand me. I'm thinking to myself, you know, how people say you cannot be eating at everyone's house, right? I'm not joking. I really mean this. People need to be more careful. You know how you just, hit a new neighborhood, friendly people, they invite you, you're not really close with them, you don't really have any idea, you don't know how they're clean, you don't know what they do, you don't know how, be careful where you're eating at, okay? Some people might be thinking this does not fit, but I think it does fit perfectly. Because this is crazy, right? If she wouldn't have been caught, only God knows to what extent this story would have, how much crazier could this actually go?
And what I'm going to tell you is really, really gruesome and disturbing. So just prepare yourself for that. I'm going to detail what police found for you here in just a bit. Right now, Toralina May Fields is in the Bourbon County Detention Center facing a number of charges after Kentucky State Police say they found the body of Toralina's mother outside of the home that they shared. Once inside, police say they found a pot that was still warm to the touch with body parts inside. It's truly shocking. And this would be shocking if it happened anywhere, but this happened, this grisly discovery was in the small city of Mount Olivet, Kentucky, halfway between Cincinnati and Lexington, Kentucky. About 350 people live there. So this is a very small town.
Robertson County. Gruesome murder case in Robertson County. Today, a grand jury formally charged 32-year-old Toralina Fields with killing her own mother, Trudy, at their Mount Olivet home.
Fields is also accused of dismembering Trudy's body. WCPO 9 News reporter Valerie Lyons spoke with the family for the first time since Fields' arrest.
Wow. My heart is really, I don't know, it's like stone right now. It's so tough to breathe hearing the story. And actually, I've heard it before, and it's still tough, right? If you think about what happened, if you think about who did the unthinkable, right? For me personally, it's shocking anyways, man or woman, but there's something about it when you hear this extreme violent, I guess this is even above violent, this needs a whole term on its own. It's so difficult for me to digest when you learn that it is a woman who did this, right? I don't know why. It's not like we don't know, but everyone can get mad. Everyone can get angry. People find themselves in situations. But for whatever reason, I personally really struggle when murder cases, and it's a woman who's convicted in it. It's so tough. Maybe because you think of women as being more caring and more social and all that good stuff, but sometimes it's not. Another thing that I find really difficult to digest is the fact that the person, who got unalived, and that's how you say it nowadays, the person who is not with us anymore, was her mom. And I am sure people will be having a lot of questions. We're trying to, as human beings, we always try to understand. We always try to find reasons, just trying to make this make sense. And I'm thinking to myself, what happened? What kind of relationship? But to be honest, I'm hitting a wall, because even if that was like the worst mom on this planet, right? We've seen some crazy stories of moms who don't care, they don't go out with the kids, they don't nourish, they don't care to cook and all that stuff. They don't care to buy them great clothes or invest in them. They don't care about their education. They're not even involved in their lives. We've heard abuse cases. All these things are bad, right? But to take someone's life is crazy enough. That's one thing. But to dismember someone, what? You must be really sick in your mind for you to stand there and do that. It is definitely not going to be easy. How do you keep going with that? That is something that I struggle with in general. We've all heard wasn't it Jeffrey Dahmer, that crazy case? And I don't know how you guys felt about that. It was so difficult for me to understand. Why? How could you do that to another person? Well, enough of my yapping. Let's see what the family has to say.
Now, we want to warn you, though, some of the details in this case are graphic and may be difficult for you to hear.
Toralina Fields was supposed to be arraigned by video here at the Harrison County Justice Center Monday, but the judge dismissed the hearing because Fields had not been served her indictment. It includes 2 additional charges, including the murder of her 68-year-old mother and the torture and killing of her dog.
Literally unimaginable. To be honest, I missed that. I did not hear the dog part. I'm not one of those people who, how to put this? That's really bad. I think it's bad. Both sides are bad, okay? But to be honest, I think what she did to the mom is definitely wrong. I do not understand why you had to drag that innocent dog into this. Why? Just open the door, let the dog run out. I don't understand why you have to take the dog's life as well. But what I'm trying to say is I'm just not going to say it. It's fine. Let's move on.
Unimaginable is unimaginable.
Olivia Brock is still struggling to comprehend. So is the rest of her family. Days later, they say the shock and grief weigh heavy.
It's one thing to find out your family member's been murdered, but it's a whole other thing for the details.
Yeah. And the details are gruesome. 68-year-old Trudy Fields' body parts cooked in beef weigh heavy.
It's one thing to find out your family member's been murdered, but it's a whole other thing for the details.
Yeah. And the details are gruesome. 68-year-old Trudy Fields murdered, dismembered, her body parts cooked inside her own stove.
Oh my God, it makes it so much, it's just so bad. It's so horrifying. In her own stove makes it even worse. And then by her own daughter, not some stranger, right? Not some random person who targeted you, not some crazy person, just your own daughter.
The person accused of doing the unimaginable, her own daughter, 32-year-old Toralina Fields.
I think somebody had lost control of their mind and had to have something this planned out, or Satanism, or had their brain washed.
Fields
this planned out, or Satanism, or had their brain washed.
Fields.
So now this man's opinion, if I understood correctly, whoever he is, definitely one of, someone close in the family member, he thinks, definitely she went nuts in some way, shape or form, but I heard him saying it might have been planned out, Satanism, or something like that. That's what I heard. Please help me out. What did you guys hear?
Family spoke with us for the first time since her arrest. They tell us Fields spent a few years in California working as an actress, but suffered a severe brain injury in a motorcycle crash a few months ago.
The reason why I was trying to point out what maybe the uncle said, or whoever that man was said, because I'm trying to understand what this information, what this information now means. Are we suddenly seeing the whole case differently? Is this supposed to bring some kind of empathy? Don't get me wrong, I'm not here trying to make fun of anything about the situation, because it's not funny. And let's say there was some damage to her brain. I mean, for sure, if you had a severe accident and they said, there was some damage to her brain. I think I'm just sitting here and I know that there are some areas within the brain that when they are damaged, you are not who you are anymore, right? Not only that, you cannot speak very well or you cannot move properly. Not only that, it really changes your psycho, your mental. But to be honest, I guess I'm putting this out as a question. Can someone suffer such severe brain damage that they become a brainless monster? I'm sorry to put it that way, but can this happen? Because is this what the news is is this what they're trying to put out there? Like, oh, she had this brain issue and that could be the reason why? Or am I just the one stretching?
I guess wandering around Cali, didn't know her name, didn't know where she belonged.
The family says they only recently found out Fields returned home to live with her mother. The next time they heard anything about Fields was last week when she was arrested. Kentucky State Troopers found her covered in blood inside the Mount Olivet home. They'd been called out by a handyman who discovered Trudy's body. That handyman told investigators he saw her alive one day earlier while Fields was yelling at them and, quote, casting spells.
Paint her nails and just do different stuff, whatever witchcraft is, but I heard she was into it.
How do you...
Look, I don't know this man. We don't know this man, but he's saying it again. Or at least what I heard, something about witchcraft and whatnot. And for what I understand, if that should be the case, then I'm not seeing any brain damage to be the prime, issue. Maybe the brain damage led her to witchcraft and Satanism, I don't know. But if this is someone who chose a certain lifestyle, religion, movement, I don't even know how to put it, then I'm just thinking there is a certain choice that was made. There are certain decisions that was made. The way he said, planned out and whatever that means, what they're doing in that witchcraft circle. I'm telling you, people out there, this has nothing to do with you're Muslim, you're Christian. No, I think people need to be more aware in what kind of circles they're moving. If you don't even need to be religious for that, okay? But if you understand when people are talking about doing satanic stuff and evil stuff and whatever, and they would tell you it's not your glitz and glamour kind of fun experience that you have on a nice Saturday, I don't understand why people want to go into that. I don't understand why people think that is the right thing to do. If you don't want to believe in anything, fine. But really, is that what you want to start tapping into? It's mad. I'm sorry. I really had to stretch that. It is mad.
Say, I'm so sad and I want justice for my family member, but I'm so sad because is my other family member not okay? Where do we go?
A question they'll continue to struggle with. But as Fields faces 5 charges and a $1.5 million bond, this grieving family wants her.
I'm sorry to say, but they should not even be any bond. I'm not sure, I don't know who this family is. I don't see them coming up with over $1 million or $1 million or whatever the amount was. But I don't even see why we get to put any bond on this, okay? This case is closed to me.
To know.
We never stop loving her, no matter what, We don't disown people. No matter what you've done.
In Harrison County, Valerie Lyons continue to struggle with, but as Fields faces 5 charges and a $1.5 million bond, this grieving family wants her to know.
We never stop loving her, no matter what, We don't disown people. No matter what you've done.
Well, as I said, I'm not here to judge. I'm not here to make fun of anyone. I'm truly shocked about the situation, and I wish the family the best. I hope they can, move on in a healthy way and still enjoy life. And I don't know, this must be devastating. I don't know how they're gonna, I just don't know. If, I'm a person, tiny things already are shaky to me. Oh my God, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna say about this, right? But one more thing, I have this question in mind. I think we all, as human beings, would love to think of ourselves in a situation where something happens that, of course, I'm always going to love my family member, I'm always going to love my sister, I'm always going to love my kid. I guess if it's your own child, what I think is interesting to me, I really like to key into people's behavior, you know, the eyes and whatnot. And please don't get this wrong, because that doesn't always count, right? Just because someone moves a certain way doesn't mean that they're necessarily lying or not lying, whatever. You guys get the gist. But one reason for sure is because the situation is difficult. It is very fresh, and she's just like in middle of it. She's so close to it. So it's tough for you to perhaps look up and talk about this, because there's a certain shame that comes within this situation, even though you're not the person who did it. I think. But when she said that, you know, her looking down, looking away, and actually the part of how she was expressing the love, having the eyes closed, maybe I'm wrong, and she just thinks she has to say that, or maybe she genuinely means that, and it's because it's so painful her eyes are closed. I don't know. I'm sorry. I just like to analyze. See you in the next one. Hope you had fun. Bye.